What's going on, guys? So in this one, I'm going to be showing you how to create an irresistible offer for contractors. Okay, I just see a lot of people out there that don't really, in a sense, know how to make a good offer. They don't talk about the desire. They don't talk about what the contractor is actually looking for, or even the guarantee is just like way out the window, or it's just not even big enough. Okay, I'm going to explain absolutely everything that I'm talking about and what I mean in this video. Okay, so it's a 10-step process, how you can create an irresistible offer and how you can actually push that to your market. Okay, so first things first, when you're talking to contractors, you need to think of a couple things. Okay, first is who you're targeting. So are you targeting roofers? Okay, are you targeting it's going to be like HVAC guys? Okay, so two really good markets. Concrete, there's so many different ones. What you need to think is, who are you targeting? Okay, and most importantly, what I always like to think is, do homeowners actually want their service? Okay, now what does that mean? Well, you got to think, people need a roof, people need heating and cooling. Okay, but end of the day, do you think that people actually want to go ahead and spend a bunch of money on these things? Right now, don't get me wrong, if they have a lot of money, I'm sure they're going to buy the best of the best. But think the average homeowner, because you got to think, put yourself in the position of your ideal customer, right? The person that you're looking for. So who are you targeting? Put yourself in their position, right? Now, people don't necessarily need a roof, or sorry, I want a roof, right? They need it. People don't necessarily want heating and cooling, but unfortunately, they need it, right? Now, what happens is these markets aren't as competitive as others because they're a lot harder to serve. Okay. I've been in HVAC. It's a very, very hard service to, again, provide to not only the homeowners, but it's also hard to provide good results for that specific service. Okay. So roofers, HVAC guys, a little bit harder. Now, where I'm going with this is you got to think, what is actually easy. So what are homeowners actually wanting? Well, homeowners are looking for stuff that they can enjoy, right? That could be, it can be many things. It could be concrete. It could be backyard renovations like pool, right? So you can do like outdoor living contractors. So outdoor, okay. Outdoor living as well. There's many. Like you got to think, what do people actually want? So put yourself in the homeowner's perspective. What would you buy for your house that you're like, oh, I'm going to call my friends over. I want to show this, right? I want to show them what I just bought versus like an HVAC unit. Like, you're not calling your friends over like, hey guys, look at my brand new AC unit. Like, that's cool. It's a nice piece of metal, right? And the purpose of doing this is, the reason why I say it's harder to serve these guys like roofers or even HVAC guys is because you're going to get a lot of times they're going to talk about their clients not being able to have the money or not wanting to buy their service, right? And it's not because your client sucks. It's because it's really hard to sell those types of services without a really good sales rep. Okay. So just put that into perspective. Who are you targeting? And again, step into their shoes and think, what do homeowners actually want? Because if it's easy for your client to sell the service, it's going to be a lot easier for you to help them. Okay. But keep in mind, the competition will be higher when it's easier to help these people. So if you're looking for, something that's a little bit harder of a challenge, but end of the day, once you crack it, you're good to go. Yeah. Pick like roofing, HVAC, that sort of thing. But if you're looking for something that's easy, concrete, outdoor living spaces, pools, things that people actually tangibly want, right? They can sit down in the day and look at it like, yeah, this was worth the money. Okay. Step number 2 is, what's the top of the market? So are we calling out guys that are only doing, 500,000 a year? Okay. So 500K. Oh, I suck at the most. 500K a year? Or are we looking to talk to guys that are doing, that's huge, 5 million a year? Okay. You got to think, what's the top of your market? What is the biggest person in your market making? The reason I say that is because if you talk to these guys only doing 500K a year, what's going to happen is these guys won't listen to you. They'll click on they'll see your ad. They'll be, oh, 500. Yeah, that's not me. That doesn't pertain to me. Right. But everyone wants to be this guy. Everyone wants to be making the 5 million a year. So if you call the guys doing 5 million a year, which is, let's say, the top of your market, what's the biggest companies in your market doing? 5 million a year. If you call these guys, well, guess what happens? first off, you'll scare away these people, but essentially you'll start to get guys that are doing 1 million, 2 million, 3 million, and 4 million. Okay. Now these are all guys you can help. Typically, these people here are just a little too small, and it's a little bit harder to help. It's harder to help them. Okay, and sometimes you can't even help them because they don't have the funding, they don't have the capital to invest into something that's going to give them more business. Because it takes money to make money, right? So think, what's the top of your market, and you're going to call it that specific person. Because again, you're going to get everyone else that's underneath, right? But you're not going to get the guys who are above. So whatever you call out, let's say you call out 2 million. Well, let's go 2 million a year. What happens is you will not get people who are doing the 5 million. Okay. You might get people who are doing 3 million. You may, like, very rarely get guys that are doing 4 million, but $3 million in difference up to 5 million here. You're not getting those guys. So keep in mind, who are you calling out? Who do you want to talk to? Who can you help? Because if you call it the smallest guy in your market, don't think the big dog is going to be opting in. Okay. So make sure you're calling out the top of your market and who is the top of your market. Now, with that being said, once you know the top of your market, you're able to then figure out what's their struggles. The guy at the bottom of the market, the guy at the very top of the market have two completely different struggles. This guy, he doesn't have business. He doesn't have customers. This guy up here, he might be just looking for more profitable projects, right? He might be looking to keep his sales guys busy. He might just be looking for a bunch of volume. But like, hey, I don't care the quality. Send me everything. Give me a bunch of leads, right? This guy here at the very top, he might have a no-show problem, right? He might be going to homeowners' houses and they're not even home, right? They're not there for their own estimate. So what's the biggest struggle, right? And again, you're thinking of the guy who's doing that, $5 million a year. We're not looking for the guy who's only doing 500,000 a year, because that's not the guy you're optimizing for. What you're optimizing your ads for is this guy. Okay. Now, that being said, what's their biggest struggle? Well, you got to think. Like I mentioned, the guy doing $5 million a year, he has leads, but is his sales team, are they filled with leads every single day, right? So the sales, do they have, like I mentioned, the leads, like the volume? Okay, so it's a little bit different. Do they have, so the sales, the leads, do they have, for example, and when I say sales, it's not they have maybe they have a sales issue. Maybe they do. They just need better quality. But when I say sales, I'm talking like feed your sales guys, right, with the leads. Again, doing lots of volume. Are there estimators? So sales team estimators, are they not busy? Again, let's talk about no-shows. Okay, so you need to help them with these types of things. Okay. Figure out what their biggest struggles are, because again, top of the market is going to have different struggles than the guys at the very bottom, because the guys at the top, they already have business. They don't have pain points. They're just looking to do more, right? So the guys at the bottom, yeah, that's a pain. There's a pain sale. So figure out what the pain points are, but you're not selling to those guys. If they do come through, we're just talking about pain points. And that's because they have no business. What happens in the next 2 months when they don't have any more money coming in? They can close the doors. Yeah. So what's the biggest struggles? Figure that out. And then from there, you're going to make an offer built around their struggles. Okay. Now, aside from their struggles, we need to know, what do they desire? Okay. So what actually is it that these types of guys are desiring? Okay. Is it, more estimates? Is it more installs? Is it, again, higher show rates, a better close rate? What is it they actually desire? So you need to figure out, what does my prospect desire? Again, is either doing, any type of contracting space, specifically. So is it HVAC? Is it guys that are doing roofing? Is it guys that are, it could be anything, right? From there, who's the top of that market specifically? Figure out who the big dogs are. And when you figure out who the big dogs are, what is their biggest struggles? Okay. Again, is it sales flow? Is it just volume with the leads, quality? Who knows? Figure that out. Then step 4 is, what do they desire? So is it installs, right? Is it installs? Is it leads? Okay. I spelled that completely wrong. So leads. Is it estimates, right? Estimates are huge. A lot of guys, they're not looking for just leads, they're looking for estimates, right? So keep in mind. And again, you gotta think of these things, okay? I forgot T there, whatever. This looks brutal. Well, that's my mouse writing. So what do they desire? Figure out what they're desiring. So is it installs? Is it leads? Is it estimates? Is it appointments? You got to figure out what your top of the market contractor is looking for. I'll tell you right now, a little hint, more often than not, it's going to be your estimates. Okay. Again, because the estimates, appointments, that's what makes the money. Yes, you can make money with leads, but the thing is, you need to have a good sales team that can convert those leads into actual prospects, right? Into appointments. At the end of the day, estimates, everything needs to turn into installs. Alrighty. So figure that out. What do they desire? Now, move on to step 5 here. This is the middle of the funnel. As I'm showing you guys, this is a funnel. So step 1 to 10 is just a massive funnel to then get your dream client. Okay. So step number 5 is, what's the dream outcome you can guarantee? Okay. Is it going to be, is it going to be a revenue guarantee? Are you going to guarantee them, $35,000? Are you going to guarantee them $50,000 in the next 3 months, next 2 months, next 1 month? What is it, right? Is it going to be the next 30 days? Is it going to be the next 2 weeks, right? So what's the dream outcome that you can guarantee? Okay, so there's revenue. Okay, get your revenue. There can be stuff like, again, let's talk about what they actually want. What do they desire? Well, let's say, for example, it's estimates. So let's say you can guarantee them estimates in a certain amount of days. Okay, so estimates. What else could it be? So revenue, estimates. Again, at the end of the day here, we're just saying, so I can generate you X amount of revenue in 30 days. Okay, I can generate you X amount of estimates in 2 months, or you can call it 60 days, 90 days, whatever you guys want. Okay, so figure that out. Figure out what exactly the dream outcome is that you can guarantee. Now, keep in mind, when you're making a guarantee, when you're giving them the dream outcome, a lot of mistakes that I see is guys, what they'll do is they'll be like, okay, well, the guy who's doing 5 million a year, he probably does 15, 20 installs a month. I can only guarantee him like 2 to 5 installs. Okay. Now, the problem with this is that guys that are doing that much aren't looking for an extra 20,000 a year, or sorry, 20,000 a month. They're looking for guys that can come in and produce huge amounts of revenue, right? So 2 to 5 installs when they're already doing 20, do you think that sticks out to them? No. Like, why would they invest in something that's doing about a tenth of what they're doing right now? They're not going to do that. So you need to think, again, what is my dream client, right? What's the top of the market? How many installs are they doing? And how many would it be like a no-brainer for them to say, oh, I want more of that, right? So if you're saying 2 to 5 installs or 2 to 5 estimates every month, they're not going to opt in. Okay. You need to think big, and it has to be just out of reach of their fingers. Now, what does that mean? If they're doing 20 installs, imagine we can get them 30 extra. Okay. And that's going to be a month. So 30 extra installs a month. What if you can do 20, right? Even 20 extra a month. 20, sorry, not 20 revenue. 20 estimates, 20 appointments, 20 installs, revenue. Think revenue now. Okay, so guys doing 5 million a year, probably doing about 200,000, 300,000, maybe 400,000 a year, right? You guys do the math. When it comes to revenue, it has to make sense. A guy doesn't want an extra 20,000. He wants an extra 100,000, 200,000. So you need to think, okay, the guy I'm talking to, what is the dream outcome that I can guarantee? Okay, and it has to make sense. So not only can you guarantee, don't be scared to put out a guarantee that essentially you might be like, okay, it's my first client. I don't know if I can do this. You got to think, if you're calling out the guy who's this big, do you think he has a sales team? Yes. Do you think he has a team that can sell? Yes, because he's doing 5 million a year, right? So that being said, don't be scared to throw out an offer like this, because you will be able to succeed on it. I promise. Okay. Now, that being said, let's move over to step 6. How can you stack value without adding cost? Well, you can do things like retargeting ads, right? Maybe you can add in a website if they don't already have one. Again, top of the funnel, they're gonna have a website, but maybe it just doesn't look the best. You can get them a new website. You can do follow up, right? So outside of your actual offer, what other things can you do? So you can do follow up. So web design, follow up. Like, you guys gotta think, how can you stack your offer, right? Can you do retargeting ads. So are you retargeting everyone that they've already talked to, right? Maybe they're already running ads. Can you retarget these people, right? Get them opted back in. Can you also, let's say, it's like retargeting, but in a sense, can you recoup the clients that they've already had in the past who they just haven't talked to in a while, right? So reactivation, can you do that? How can you stack value without adding cost to your offer? So what can you do that's not going to say, okay, shit, I'm spending money, I need to collect more money from the client. What can you do to do that? So web design, yeah, it's free. It might take time, but in the beginning, do it, right? It builds trust. Follow up. Build up a follow up system. If you have like Go High Level or something, that can all be done and no extra cost. Retargeting, no extra cost. Again, yes, they have to spend more on the ads, but it's not like you're taking money out of their pocket to do something. Okay, so build up an offer outside of what you've already doing for them. So again, generating revenue, estimates, installs, whatever it may be. Build up something. It's also going to stack value without adding cost. Okay. So again, websites, follow up, retargeting, reactivation list, do whatever you need to do, email marketing. Think of something that actually generates revenue, not just to say, hey, I also have this. It has to be valuable. Okay. Step number 7, what's the risk reversal? So is it like in 30 days we'll generate you $100,000 or you don't pay, right? So or you don't pay. Okay. That's supposed to be a cat dash, don't pay. So risk reversal. So if I don't get them the 20 to 30 estimates, they don't pay, right? Now again, guys, don't be like, oh my God, I can't do this. What am I supposed to do? Again, I'll show you how to actually do again, kind of like a reversal. So when they come in, if they're not actually doing $5 million a year and you can't actually offer this because all they'll do is screw you over, then there's ways to kind of downsell them. Okay. Again, I'll show that inside the program. So make sure you go to the modules and take a look at the sales stuff. So, or you don't pay. There's another one, the risk reversal. Risk reversal is you work for free. Okay. So in the first 7 days, we work for free. Or let's say if we don't get you the 20 estimates in the next 30 days, we will work for free until you do. So these are all risk reversals. Tongue twister for me. So think of risk reversals that way. It's like, hey, if you invest this much money, okay, I'll guarantee this. If I don't do what I say I do, then you get your money back. Simple as that. Okay. That's our risk reversal. So they're very, very important, especially in today's market. If you guys don't have experience, throw those out there. And even in today's market, if you don't have enough back-end trust, you don't have a bunch of testimonials, this helps. Okay. Now we're getting to the end of it here. Step 8, what's the fastest results you can deliver? Now, why do I ask? And why do I say this is because, for example, an offer I'm running right now is I'll guarantee concrete contractors, estimates in the next 7 days, guaranteed, or they do not pay. Okay. Now you're like, holy shit, that's quick, right? And I know I can do it because of experience. I can get their ads up and running, and I know how to generate estimates very, very quickly. So I can do is the estimates in the next 7 days. Okay, so estimates, and again, I'll get better at this. Estimates in 7 days. Okay, so 7 days. Now, that is a fast, quick result. You got to think these guys are looking for quick, tangible results. So if you can do something super quick, that's what they want. Okay, so that's the fastest result you can deliver. It's something along the lines of estimates in 7 days, or you can do like a guaranteed install in the next 2 weeks, 3 installs in the next 2 weeks. Whatever you know has been proven and you can do it yourself, do that. If you can't get estimates, say I can get your ads up and running in the next 24, the 48 hours, 72 hours, whatever it may be, right? So keep that in mind. That's what we're looking for, or not us, but that's what they're looking for. Okay. Step number 9, how will you prove it to the contractors? This is testimonials, reviews, right? Again, if you don't have this stuff, that's why we go back up here and we're saying the risk reversal, right? How will you prove it to the contractor? We can have it in writing saying you don't pay if I don't get you what I say. I say I won't. I say I'll get you. Okay. As well, if you do have this stuff, you want to put your testimonials, all your reviews on the landing page. So on your landing page, your headline, you have a little blurge, whatever the hell it may say, maybe like a button here, right? This is the call to action. And then underneath that, you're going to have, reviews, testimonials, all this stuff, all the videos, whatever it may be. And that's going to be in its own separate category. So headline, button, call to action, and then your proof of concept. So absolutely everything here will basically say, hey, you're not the first person I'm doing this for, and so on. Again, if you don't have clients, you need to revert back and always get them to focus on like this part of things. Now, keep in mind, if you get people to focus on the free aspect or they don't pay, what's going to happen is they're going to get into this deal thinking, hey, I'll just do this. And if they don't get me what I want, then I'll just take my money back, right? So that can cause issues. So make sure if you don't have testimonials and reviews, yes, you'll have to revert back to this, but you need to make sure that you frame it the correct way. Like, in order for me to do this, you guys need to be closing at a certain amount of percentage, right? So 30%, 40%, right? You guys need to be going to your estimates every single time. You can't be missing estimates. You have to follow with these people. So you have to put in some contingencies that way that after 30 days, if the guy gave you, let's say 10 grand and he just sat on his ass, he didn't do anything, he didn't go to a single estimate, he can't come back and say, hey, I want my money. Well, no, you didn't do anything, right? So you have to protect yourself if you're going back to this. The last step here, you need to make your offer so fucking clear that they can understand it in 5 seconds. Less than that. They need to understand it in about 1 second. Okay. The reason I say that is because, especially if you're doing videos, okay, if you're doing static, it's a little bit easier because in the static is just, a picture and then you have your offer, blah, 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 right? In a video, in order for someone to consume a video, they have to watch the video. So your offer has to be so fucking good that and clear that in the first 5 seconds they understand. Concrete contractors doing $100,000. I'll guarantee you 5 estimates, just for an example, in the next 2 days. I'll guarantee you estimates in the next 7 days. That simple, that clear. In the matter of 5 seconds, they understood exactly what I do, for who I do it for, and so on. Okay, so that's how clear it has to be. It has to be so clear that you can understand it in the first 5 seconds. All right, guys. So that's how you're going to build an irresistible offer for contractors. Again, make sure to check out the other modules. With that being said, okay, I'll see you guys in the next one. Now, if you guys are watching this on YouTube, I want you to understand that this is actually, again, as I just did, a video for the guys in the course. Now, again, this is going to be the first video. This is very, very basic stuff. We get into deep conversations and deep understanding of ads, how to market to rich contractors, not broke guys. Again, this is part of talking to rich people. So not just $2 million a year, 10 million, 20 million. How do you talk to those guys? That's exactly what I go over in the course, in the mentorship. So if you guys are looking to take the next step and you're like, hey, I just watched this video, I wanted to understand how to create the offer and just kind of clarify I'm doing it the right way, but you're actually looking to scale your business, maybe you're doing 10K or you're doing 15,000, 20,000, and you're just kind of stuck and stagnant at a certain point, then what you can do is I'll put the links down below, book a call, and we can chat about how we can actually get you guys to the next level, the 50,000, 75,000, $100,000 a month, and you'll be able to sell to your contractors and have consistent revenue being generated. So yes, maybe you hit the 30,000, 20,000, or maybe 50,000 a month, 1 month, but you can't keep it consistent. That's what I show you in this program. So how to market to rich people and how to stay a whole lot richer. That being said, guys, drop a like down below, comment, and I'll see you in the next one.